Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast, presented by the Fantasy Football World Championship, home to the industry's most accurate rankings.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast. As always, I am your host, Adam Krautwurst. You can find me at Adam_Krautwurst. And with me tonight is a high-stakes friend of mine, Stacy Perez. Stacy, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. It's what do we did a show a couple weeks ago. We drafted a big gorilla or something.
And it's doing pretty well. Honestly, it's like the highlight of my of some of my teams. Honestly, it's what's keeping me going, really.
Keeping you go. It's always nice when you can find those teams that can just get you through. They can get you through. But yeah, thanks for joining me. We're gonna do some waivers tonight. We're gonna listen to me rant about handcuffing. We'll do some start-sit questions. If anyone wants to throw those in the chat, we'll definitely talk about those, trades or whatever. And let the people know where they can find you and get all your info.
Yeah, so you can find me over on X, Twitter, whatever you're calling it, at Stacy, Stacy, no E, spelled the correct way, _Perez 83. Over there on Monday nights, I do the waiver wire watch party. I got to say it real slowly or else I'm going to mess it up, over on Fantasy and Frames. And then over, oh my gosh, Rachel, I'll Venmo you for that later, girl. Thank you so much. And then on Sundays, I do the Sunday tailgate over on Dynasty Degens.
My goal this year is to get on that Sunday tailgate for sure. This week, listen, I don't know how into the Ryder Cup you are, Stacy, but I am like, I took the day off Friday. I'm getting up. I'm watching it all day. Are you into the Ryder Cup before I go?
Golf, right?
Huh?
Is that golf?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So sorry.
It is golf. It is golf. Oh my God. Well, it's good. This is not a golf podcast.
Thank God.
That could have been bad. So this weekend, the Sunday, everything's going to be booked, but I definitely want to get on there because that sounds like a blast. The Sunday tailgate for sure.
Come on. You're only allowed to come on if you don't trash talk my team like our good friend Louis did on Sunday, where he accurately predicted that Green Bay was going to lose to Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
So that's not allowed anymore.
I heard they're looking into that. There was like $1 billion on the Packers and they lost. Someone needs to look into that.
Dude, if you're dumb enough to put 100 that kind of money on it, like, you deserve what you get then.
Jerry in the chat. I'm writing all this down. Scheffler over 24 bird. I'm taking it. I'm writing it down. I'm taking it. That's the Ryder Cup, Stacy.
Okay. What's a birdie?
It's 1 under par, but you know this.
I swear to you, I don't. I tried taking golf lessons once as like a way to like meet guys, and it was me and a bunch of single women there in the class. So that really kind of backfired.
It kind of sounds like the expo, no? The Fantasy Football Expo? Okay, kind of like that.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's dig in here. Let's talk a little fantasy for the people. I want to rant about handcuffing running backs. I don't even know what your take is on it. So I'm just going to, pour from the heart here. And then I want to hear kind of your stance on it. So I understand that. And this is, in regards to the Trey Benson, James Conner recent injury to James Conner. Hope he recovers quickly from that. And before I even say anything, I have, in my high stakes world, I have 3 James Conner and 6 Trey Benson, and all 3 James Conner are handcuffed with Benson. And then I have 3 leagues where I just have Benson. So I made out on this situation, I would say. I've gotten back to recently handcuffing. So I used to do it all the time. For those of you who don't know, I'm a big high stakes player. I've been playing high stakes for a long time. That's kind of my roots. That's where I live. I'm not a huge best ball guy. But recently, maybe the last 5 or 6 years, a lot of the more popular players or the more popular podcasts out there really into the analytics. I appreciate the analytics. I understand it. It's negative EV in a sense that the whole idea is if you're in a tournament per se. So there's a couple different ways you can look at it, right? If you're in a confined league, which a lot of mine are 3K, 5K, 10K, they're all confined leagues. Confined leagues, you should definitely handcuff more than you would in a tournament. But the idea is if you're in a tournament and you have, let's say, James Conner and Trey Benson, right? If Conner goes down, now you're fine because you have Benson, but now somebody else who didn't have Conner and has Benson, now their team is loaded and you can't be as good as them. For example, I have a FFWC main event team where I have Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Trey Benson. So like I look at that team and I'm like, that team looks incredible now. I get it. But there's so many different things that can happen, right? So the way I look at it is, yes, Conner went down for the year, but let's say Conner went down for a month. All right. Don't you you want that Trey Benson to be able to get you through those 4 games to be able to even get you to the playoffs, right? You want to be able to, and how many people who have James Conner and Trey Benson are looking at the roster going, what an idiot I was. That was such a stupid decision to take Trey Benson to handcuff James Conner because now I'm negative EV and all these other teams. The act now of everyone wanting to build in these tournaments, everyone wants to build these super teams, right? So you want to take, and the way to build these super teams is you avoid these injuries. You take all these receivers early, hero RB, zero RB. You take the receivers early, they stay healthier, and then you take the running backs later, like Trey Benson. And then when there's an injury to James Conner, now you have an RB, borderline RB1, along with your star receivers, and you've built this super team that you can win all this money with. You don't have any idea what's going to happen for the rest of the season. Okay. Go Bills won the FFPC main event by starting Zay Jones in week 1 of the race, and DeMar Hamlin died.
Oh God, that's right. That was
that's how they won. I mean, they had a great team, whatever. Yeah. That's how they won the main event. Not because they had some handcuff running back for an injury somewhere else. Like there are so many things that can happen over the course of the year that striving to build these super teams is just it'll hit once in a while, but you need the perfect storm of everything to go with you. And that luck Abib won the 3-week race in the I don't even know what it was called back then, the mid stakes for FFPC. He didn't have a kicker for 2 weeks in the 3-week race and still won. We don't know what's going to happen. So we're spending all this money striving to build these super teams with zero RB, hero RB, don't handcuff because it's negative EV. I've been kind of getting back to my roots this year is like, you got to be in it to win it. And if you lose if I have Bijan Robinson and I have Tyler Algier, if Bijan goes down, God forbid, like Algier would be a borderline RB1, RB 13, 40, 50, something like that. He can help you stay afloat. He can help you to survive, to get through. And then who knows what happens during that 3-week race? Who knows what happens during the fantasy football playoffs? So that's the way I look at it. I'm having some decent success this year. It's early, but I drafted running back a little bit earlier this year than I normally do. The other thing too, to kind of offshoot from this, and then I'll let you talk, Stace, is the zero RB, hero RB, don't handcuff your running back. I was talking about this all preseason, and it's kind of coming to fruition again. Do running backs get hurt more than receivers? Of course they do. But when you combine receiver injuries with quarterback injuries, it's got to be even or even more. Because when the quarterback goes, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, who wants to start T. Higgins? Nobody. But he didn't get hurt, but his quarterback got hurt. So when you combine the quarterback injury with the receiver injury, you're going to get the same or more of a injury affecting your team than you would a running back. So I don't know. That's just like my old man, I guess, take on it to kind of, and maybe it's just been a recency bias with the injuries, but what are your thoughts on handcuffing and kind of all that stuff I just said?
So I'm kind of right there with you. Like, I really didn't love handcuffing, like, I think when I first started playing fantasy, I probably did that a lot more. And then I kind of got away from it a little bit, but I think you kind of have to take the approach of like, you do it when it makes sense, right? You don't always have to do it. You don't have to handcuff every single one of your players, but let's say like Trey Benson, right? Let's just take that example because I know that's what's on everybody's mind this week, right? Like you were taking Trey Benson because he brought you extra value too. He wasn't just taking up a roster spot and he wasn't just like sitting there and not doing anything. Like a lot of like, let's say like the San Francisco situation, right? Nobody's going to be back there except for CMC unless he goes down. So those guys are just really essentially sitting there in case of emergency. You're a little like, break glass at that point. I like taking guys that have that kind of standalone value. You can put them in, and kind of what they're going to do if he does get hurt. Like we all know the value that Trey Benson is going to bring to the Cardinals offense now that Connor is done. You can trust him as that bell cow because he's going to be that. He's going to immediately walk in and take over that entire role. Like a Tyler Algier, his situation too. Like he also, has that value too. I just looked at, he's got the only rushing touchdown that they have.
Yeah.
Right. With Bijan or whatever it is that we're calling him this week. So I like taking guys like that. I also like taking guys that have, a different role. Like let's say a Gibbs and a Montgomery, right?
Yeah.
They're that I don't consider that a handcuff, right? Like that's not that kind of situation. You could even probably, and we haven't really seen it yet in New England, but a Ramondre and Travion Henderson situation, maybe even a Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson situation. Like they bring different things to the table in regards to what they can do and what their talents are. So I kind of like taking guys a little bit like that. If you were going to take a handcuff, like if I were to take CMC this year, because of what happened last year, I probably would be a little bit more inclined to take one of those guys like an Isaac Guerrero. Obviously, we didn't know about Brian Robinson until later on, closer to the season. You're going to take those guys maybe a little bit later. That way, if you take him in the 20th round, it's not really hurting your team. You're not just wasting a roster spot there. So I guess I just like to do it when it makes sense. If it's not to the detriment of taking another player that I could actually use, then I like to do it. If you are taking a guy that maybe has had some injury issues in the past, but it does bring a lot to the table, then I like doing that too, because that way you don't have to go pay out the nose like people are going to have to pay if Trey Benson is somehow magically still available in your league. You're going to be paying all your fab for him. And if you drafted him, you don't have to do that. So, benefits to both things, I think.
Yeah.
I just like doing it when it makes sense,
Yeah. And I've just seen like you kind of followed it in the same circles that, I do with the podcasting and stuff. And like, I've just seen some podcasts with really smart people that are just like, it's stupid. We would, and they never do it. They would never, ever do it. And I think that is a mistake. I think like you handcuff other people's backs, right?
Yes.
Well, who says you can't do both?
Right.
Why can't you take James Conner, Trey Benson, and Tyler Algier?
Right.
Now Bijan goes down. Now there's your super team, right? But like you can do both. And the other thing too, people say, oh, when you take running backs early, you're losing that shot at taking those 10th and 11th, the Bijan Tutons, maybe the Jordan Masons.
Yep.
Well, I would argue that when you don't take running backs early, you're missing out on shots at James Cook and Jonathan Taylor and, Kenneth Walker. Like what? Because when they do stay healthy, they smash and you don't have them. Like last year was the perfect example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like last year was the worst case scenario for zero RB. And I was victim to it. And I'm like,
Same.
You know what? And again, last thing I'm going to say about this is it was a really good strategy 5 or 6 years ago, not handcuffing and playing zero RB because there were these, satellite running backs like Danny Woodhead, like where you could draft these guys in the 10th round that would just get 8 or 9 catches. They had that role that you could plug them in there as your RB2 and they would get you 12 fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really have that. Teams don't have that anymore. So it's harder to come across running backs later on without injuries. And so I feel like handcuffing is the way to go. It keeps your team alive. It keeps you active, especially in some of these leagues where it's like 5,000, some of these high stakes leagues. It's like you have Connor and you don't have Benson. You're in huge trouble now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's just kind of how I look at it. So,
yeah.
Okay.
I hate making blanket statements, like you said, like people that are like, oh, I would never do that. Like, I just, you have to kind of keep up with what the NFL is doing and how the offenses are changing, even in your, your fantasy teams and how you're drafting.
For sure. Okay, cool. Let's dive into waivers. So, I have seen a couple comments in the chat before about like, hey, Tuesday nights, this, that, and the third, because waivers are Tuesdays. This show is geared more towards like the high stakes world, FFWC, Fab waivers that run on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings. So that's kind of what we're digging into here. Some of the deeper sleepers that, we're not going to talk about guys that are going to be available in in
Yeah.
in your home league. So
like Benson, we talked about Benson. We just touched him on a smidge on Monday because when I looked up the numbers, I saw it was between 50 and 59%. So I was like, all right, we'll throw a bone, we'll talk to him. He's not available in these high stakes leagues. Like that's hilarious to think that he would be unless somebody made an accident, but no.
So let's kick this off with probably be maybe one of the biggest in the high stakes leagues. FFWC, Trey Tucker for the Raiders, and then you have a nice little game you want to play, which is your Trey Tucker. But overall, week 3, wide receiver 1 smash, which is going to drive his price up. But he's playing a role. Stacy, he's 90% snap rate in all 3 of his games, 20 targets, which is as much as Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
211 receiving yards is 16th. Tied for the league's lead in touchdowns. And I'm a Jacoby Myers truther. I'm the guy that drafted Jacoby Myers everywhere. And Jacoby Myers has been fine. But talk to me about Trey Tucker and what you're doing with him on waivers this week.
So, also, right, you say league lead in touchdowns, right? He has all 4 of the passing touchdowns for the Raiders.
Bauer should have had one last week. He should have made that catch. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, he's a little banged up, right? I don't know exactly what's wrong with him. He's a little banged up. We don't know what's going on with Genty. They got to get that situation figured out. But until they do, I like Trey Tucker. I think you definitely are going to pay through the nose for him if you want him 100% this week, just with the points that he's putting up. Is he going to do that every week? Probably not. But 2 of those touchdowns are in the red zone. So that's something to think about. He is obviously a red zone target for Geno Smith. And in the red zone, I checked this. I found this stat out too. It's a 27.2 target share percent when the Raiders are in the red zone, which they're playing the Bears this week. So that should be a pretty good match if they are at home. I like that there. I think, I've seen some people outside, well, you're just chasing points with Trey Tucker, but like in these deeper leagues, you've got to go out and get the guys that are doing that. And I don't necessarily think it's just chasing points because he's not like a one-hit wonder over here. He's been a part of this offense. This is his 3rd season, all right?
Yeah, and he's good.
Exactly. He's a good player. I've liked him since before, like the draft. I remember talking about him on some dynasty shows a couple years ago. So he really does bring a lot to this offense. Here's my game for you. Who are we starting him over, right? Let's say you spend all your fab, you get him on your team. Are you starting him this week against the Bears? And who would you bench on your team in order to start Trey Tucker? So I've got 4 names for you. I want to see what you think. First one, Travis Hunter.
Oh my gosh. Trey Tucker.
Yeah, I agree.
Tucker. I say, oh my gosh, because of the name, but I don't even have to really think about it. It's Trey Tucker.
It's name value for Travis Hunter right now. Yeah. And I think until they get his situation figured out, I honestly, quite frankly don't think they need to be dealing with him on defense. I think they need to let him learn the wide receiver role, and they're obviously not going to do that for what they paid to get him. So I think it's going to be a little, I don't know. He to me manage those expectations, people, if you drafted Travis Hunter. But I agree. Tucker all day long. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Oh boy. Is Neighbors playing this week? He's got a little shoulder hiccup.
I just saw that. And he's got Jackson Dart now. Is going to be
right, correct. Yeah. No, I assumed that was baked into this price here. Mm-hmm. Tucker.
I think so. Yeah. Over Wan'Dale. Yeah.
Wan'Dale, listen, Wan'Dale's great, but he's one of those guys like T. Higgins. He could blow out a tire in the second play of the game and you're stuck with nothing. He's done that every year.
Yeah, and I'm a little worried about our boy Cam Scadaboo over there just blowing people up, just running through defenses over there.
I know.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go down to Miami. Jalen Waddle.
I think Waddle proved something to me a little bit last week. He never does anything against the Bills. He scored. He kind of got, I don't know if it was garbage time because they were tied on Thursday night. And I think they got him a little bit more involved. Their offense looked a little bit more competent than it has. I think Waddle's a good player. Who do they got this week? The Jets.
Jets.
Yeah, I mean it's a slightly positive matchup. You'll probably get Sauce on Tyreek.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna lean Waddle, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I was trying to take a look. Where are the Jets? The Jets they're pretty fantasy friendly for opposing wide receivers. So
Yes, so far they are plus 3.5% on the average receiver.
Last one. We're going to Seattle. Cooper Kupp.
Oh, Tucker. I don't listen. Cooper Kupp and I had a nice, clean divorce. Like it was like, listen, we had a great life together. You made me lots of money, sweetie, and now it's time for me to move on. And I'm happy to not have him trade Tucker because he's got that blow up spot capability. Mm-hmm. And Torrey Horton, I think, is kind of good. And I mean, the fact that this isn't draft season, but the fact that he was with the Rams and he's best buddies with all of them. And they were just like, see ya. Like they know things that we don't know. And he's just like, yeah, you're washed. So.
Well, yeah. And I mean, especially with JSN up there taking like 90% of the target share or something like that. Something outrageous.
Right. That's it. That's exactly right. I got one for you. Just off
we got one in the chat too. That looks pretty good.
Off the cuff. Oh, I'll do that one too. Quentin Johnston.
Oh God.
Quentin R. Johnston.
Who did they play this week?
The Giants.
Oh God, I gotta go Johnston then. I gotta go Johnston then. The Giants are giving up 45 fantasy points to opposing teams, wide receivers. It's the second highest behind the Cowboys.
I can't get over Johnston. He
was
the one that we did not have a good look. Like I was all about Quentin Johnston coming out, and it was just like, oh my God. And now he still can't catch, but the offense is better. So
he's destroying all my shares of Lad McConkey. And for that reason, I am very upset with him. Just the audacity to come in and do that in his third season.
Jordan Addison, Trey Tucker. Who you got?
I think I gotta go with Tucker. It's first game back. For Addison, they are playing over in Dublin, that Dublin game. So that's going to be a little bit wonky over there. I mean, I don't know the timing when they're getting over there. Those guys adjust, kind of funny. Those games are always weird.
Those games are ugly.
I hate starting guys that are going to be playing overseas. I never like it. It never goes well. Especially it is his first game back. I think I'm going to still go with Tucker. If this was regular season, he had been playing the full time. I think I'd probably lean towards more Addison a little bit, but given the situation, I think I got to go Tucker this week.
All right. 25 minutes on Trey Tucker. Let's move on.
That was a fun game.
That was a fun game. That's right. Yeah. Kevontae Turpin, wide receiver, running back, kick returner, special teams expert for the Cowboys with CeeDee Lamb out for probably a month. He's explosive. I think he's worth a waiver wire pickup. If you've got Lamb, you're not just going to pick him up and throw him into your starting lineup probably. But I think he's worth a bid, 5% of your budget maybe. He'll play on the perimeter. Lamb had 28% target share. He'll get nothing near that. But you might get a Trey Tucker-esque type of game. Not 3 touchdowns, but a couple of deep balls, that type of thing. Some trick plays, maybe some carries. What do you think about Turpin?
So he was one of the guys that I was definitely talking about on Monday. I mean, they do have Green Bay this week, so temper your expectations there. Because I think Green Bay is going to come in, they're going to be pissed off, and it's going to be a Micah Parsons revenge game for sure. But Kevontae Turpin, all of those things, plus he does have a red zone touchdown, which you like. Dallas is throwing for the third most passing yards per game, 268, and throwing 66% of the time. So they are a high volume passing offense. They're going to be looking for somebody, besides Pickens, because right now Pickens is going to take over that one role. So you've got Turpin and Tolbert who are going to fight over, the leftovers there behind Ferguson. So I lean more Turpin than Tolbert for me. Just because he does bring all those extra things as well. If you are in a league that gives you those special team points, he's got that going for him. And he's looked good, just the eye test too. He's made the most out of what they've been given to him. And I just think he continues to do that.
Yeah, I agree. He's electric. They have to get creative with him. But again, he's not something that you're really looking to want to start, but
No,
with
maybe
the
a low end
injuries,
flex.
right,
But yeah.
right. And in the FFWC, so it's a dual flex. So
Mhm.
there's start 3 receivers, 2 flex. With the
Okay.
injuries and the bye weeks coming up, I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
find some spots for Turpin.
Mhm.
All right, Amari DiMercato, Cardinals running back. Probably the backup there now for Benson. Benson can do it all. He can run and catch, but Turpin will stay involved. He's been on the team for a couple of years. He's had his moments late in the season when Connor's been hurt.
Yeah.
He actually played ahead of Trey Benson last year.
Mhm.
He's a decent receiver. I think
Yeah.
he'll just be like a third down role type of player. But again, I have this thing that I say, but I don't always practice it. But it's kind of never drop a running back ever. I'm always adding running backs that are an injury away, sometimes 2 injuries away. I don't know if I put this guy on our list even, but because I saw him today, I sent you a list and then I did
Yeah.
waivers and I realized that like Jaden Blue was on waivers a bunch. Like he's another
Yeah.
guy that's like an injury away.
Mhm.
But you always want to have these running backs that are injury away. I wouldn't be adding DiMercato to like flex him
Right.
or start him. But you always want running backs that are there injury away. And I think he's worth a pickup.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, they did use him a lot last season as well. Had to really no stats really to talk about this year. But if you look at last season, he had a really good game against Green Bay in Week 6. Week 9 against Chicago, 16 points there, scored a touchdown. So they do trust him with that. He knows this offense, and obviously behind Benson, you're going to want somebody who can be there in case, God forbid, something happens to Benson.
Exactly. That's why these weeks it's like.
Mhm.
We're in so many leagues, and it's like the thought of doing waivers for all these teams every week. I mean, like, you know what? Like, I will literally go through and I'll set my lineup for a team, and I'm like, I don't even know who I would drop. But let me
Right.
go in and see, because it's like, I've got Guerrero on the bench. Like, would I rather have Guerrero or would I have like DiMercato? Like, it's just you always are tinkering and toying. You always got to put in bids, and so I think he's worth, like you said, he's worth putting that bid in. Speaking of Quentin Johnson, a couple of minutes ago, we have a question. Hypothetically, if there's a trade that took place involving Quentin Johnston and Devonta Smith, what side do you favor? I still prefer Devonta Smith because I just think he's better. I think everyone thinks that he's better. He's in an offense that when they need to throw, like they showed last week, they can, and he's heavily involved. And so, and if there's an injury to AJ Brown, Devonta Smith becomes a borderline wide receiver 1, probably.
Yeah.
Every week when you rank him, when you project him, he'll be in the top 15. So I don't think Quentin Johnston has that. I think he would need 2 injuries to have that. And so yeah, I would lean to Devonta Smith. What about you?
This is a tough question because I feel like I've been burnt a little bit by Devonta Smith in the past.
Yeah.
Like he has the potential to go off like he did this week, and then he also has potential to give you a big old bagel right in your lineup. Quentin Johnson, I'm not sure that I trust it completely, right? Like I know we've had 3 games and he's been great all 3 games. I feel like I still need to see a little bit more before I'm going to trust him enough to agree to a trade where I've got somebody like Devonta Smith who is super talented on a great offense, all things that you love, and it has the potential and has shown that he has the potential to go off on weeks, especially too when Dallas Goedert misses time, and he does miss time a lot. Then Devonta Smith has even better, target share and everything like that. So
Well, that was the disappointing thing in week 2 was Goddard did miss, and
right.
they at 12% of their plays was the tush push.
Oh,
Like,
I know. I was like, start Devonta Smith this week. Dallas Goedert's out, and
killing me.
Yeah.
Just killing me. But
that's the frustrating thing about the Eagles, right? Is that they're such a run first offense that it really hurts because they've got so much talent, in the passing game that you have to take those guys early, and then you're sitting there kind of like very frustrated with what's going on over there.
and it's never really been this bad before,
No,
as far as Now we got off the hook because week 1 we didn't have to start him. We get the free look in most of the tournaments and stuff, so we could get away from them. So they've really only burned us 1 week, but it can be frustrating. Their defense is so good that it keeps them the lead in every game, and they don't have to pass the ball. And
Yeah.
so they have to play teams. I said, like, listen, if they can't get a game against the Rams, then we're screwed the rest of the year. But the Rams are able to score on them and should have won the game. But yeah, so okay, cool. Good talking about that. I don't know if I put this person down, but I'll look up the list as I bring this guy up. But Taj Brooks, yeah, I think I did. I don't know. Yep. Taj Brooks, again, I don't think he's very good, but at running back, you don't need to be good. You just need opportunities.
Yep.
So I think Taj Brooks is a guy, again, you're just picking somebody up. Chase Brown remains the workhorse, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. He's been an absolute disaster fantasy-wise. And P. Ryan's still there too. Yeah. But again, if anything happens to P. Ryan or Taj Brooks, I'm sorry, P. Ryan or Chase Brown, I think Taj Brooks would be a guy that they can get in there and get some work.
And he was one that I was taking a lot early on in the summer before they re-signed P. Ryan. And P. Ryan actually missed some time this week with a thumb injury. It turns out, I just looked it up just before we went on just to see where we were at with that because I hadn't seen any news, but it says it's not a serious injury. I haven't seen anything where he's going to miss time. So, there's that. So unless he does miss time, I think Taj Brooks is pretty irrelevant, unfortunately. He's had a little bit, this is just complete, like me personally, I got to talk to him at the combine.
Nice.
And just like, great kid, really just hope that he's successful. I think that's a good spot for him to be in. I think, he's just, a few injuries away, and maybe next season, is really his season unless something happens right now. But I have been dropping him. I know you don't like dropping running backs, but if I've had to drop somebody, he has been a casualty lately. So
I get it. And again, you get to the point where it's like, okay, I have injuries on my roster. Bye weeks are here. My team's 1-3. I gotta start moving and shaking here. And so you make some moves.
Denver this week too. So
right.
That could be ugly.
Right. Hassan Haskins. So he's kind of been he always ends up on these shows, right? Because, we're doing the kind of the deeper players for the high stakes people, and he's always available. And, the pros for Hassan Haskins, Chargers running back, is he played in Michigan with Harbaugh, and he's still on the team.
Yep.
So that, there's something to be said about that, but he's done almost nothing there. They went out and drafted Hampton. They went out and grabbed Najee Harris. So they can't really like him.
Right.
But again, he's an injury away now. They also have Kamani Vidal on the practice squad, who I think might be more talented. But again, Haskins is a guy, big, strong back. He's also caught 14 of 15 targets, for his career, spent 4 years with Harbaugh at Michigan. So I feel like you're not flexing him. You're not starting him. None of that. But I think he's a strict handcuff.
Yeah.
If you had Najee, pick him up. If you've got Hampton, pick him up, and just hope that you don't lose Hampton. But maybe Haskins can be a little something for you, even if you lose him for a week or two.
Well, I think he snuck in and got a touchdown this week, and if I saw that right, and also, I just think you have to give him the edge. Harbaugh loves those Michigan guys. So for what it's worth, I think gives him the edge over Vidal a little bit.
No, Harbaugh likes the Michigan guys. He loves Justin Herbert. Literally.
Well, who doesn't love Justin Herbert? Come on.
I'm a Josh Allen guy, so I can't even watch anybody else play quarterback. It's not even. I want to fall asleep watching anyone else play QB. But maybe Herbert will be close to Josh Allen one day. We'll see.
One day.
Gotta
gain some weight. He's got to gain a little weight if he's going to be close to Josh Allen.
Right, exactly. He's got to be a big boy. Come on. All right, back to receiver, a guy that, injuries are kind of ravaging this receiving core now, but Jalen Coker, right? So he's not back yet, still on the IR, but a guy that you want to maybe stash. Maybe this week people get caught up with all the other injuries and stuff, and maybe you can slide in Jalen Coker for a cheap bid. He had a great camp before he got hurt. I think they really like him. The word on the street was they were going to start the year with Leggett, see how it went, and then if it didn't go well, which it hasn't, Leggett's literally the worst receiver in football, next to I guess Quentin Johnston from last year and the year before that.
Yeah.
Now you've got you have an injury to Leggett, you have an injury to the rookie Tet McMillan, who I have a lot of shares of. I really like Tet. he could come back in a week and be the number one receiver there. What do you think about stashing? It's hard to stash receivers, but what do you think? What do you think about him?
Well, I think he's probably one that I would say. I actually am stashing him in a couple places where I have an IR spot, and that's not necessarily, I know our high stakes leagues don't really do the
Yeah.
IR spot, but if you can stash him, he'd be one that I would definitely stash. So making some progress on that quad injury projected sometime in October. But yeah, Leggett is not doing great at all. I'm not really worried about Hunter Renfrow. So I think he's kind of a lock for that wide receiver 2 role. He blew up last season. He looked fantastic last year. So he's got the talent, what he can do. And this is his second year in the offense with Dave Canales and Bryce Young now. So he's one that I am hanging on to for dear life. And it would take a lot for me to drop him if I had him stashed away. And also something too, because he's not coming back yet, you can get him for cheap. Go throw a couple bucks on him. If he's available in your league, he's not a priority ad for a lot of people this week.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Sneak him in there under the radar with all these running back injuries and stuff, and lock him in there. Yeah, he's a completely different player than they have in the slot with Hunter Renfrow. Right, Hunter Renfrow is a little jitterbug, kind of short yak. Coker's an athlete. Right. Yep. He's gonna be able to stretch the field, go up and get it. And we saw what they did with Adam Thielen last year out of the slot before he got hurt. He smashed. Now, again, I don't wish the world for Coker because I have a lot of Ted McMillan. So just keep the defense honest. But yeah, I think he's certainly worth adding. And this is the last week, right? Yeah. Because next week when everyone, he's coming back, now he's going to be you can get him cheaper this week for sure.
Yeah, nobody's talking about him this week. He's out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people. So go sneak in, go grab him if you have, the ability to do that.
For sure. All right. Last but not least.
Oh, we got a question in the chat real quick, just to answer Justin or Josh. Always Josh.
Oh, come on. I saw the question. I didn't even dignify it by putting it up here. Didn't even dignify it.
Always Josh.
Oh, always Josh. That's right. Listen, Joshua Patrick Allen married a Hollywood starlet and she married up. Explain.
She did.
That's what we're talking about here.
For sure.
That's what we're talking about. Okay. Last but certainly not least, and we can, if anyone wants to know about some other players, I can throw them in the chat too, but a guy that's going to be available everywhere. If you need, this is the opposite of stashing player. If you need help, immediately, this is a guy that maybe can give you a little bit of something. Devin Singletary, right? He's a veteran running back, capable, knows the Daboll offense, as was the starter there just a couple of years ago. Not a very good player. Isn't going to play ahead of Scadaboo, but he might be able to get into your flex, maybe desperation if you're in a league like FFWC where you have two flex, just when you had Tyrone Tracy and Scadaboo, they were kind of both flex worthy. And if anything happens to Scadaboo, listen, I love Scadaboo's talent, but he's a big bruising kind of slow back. Yeah. He's going to take punishment. And so Tracy's probably out a month. And if you might be using Devin Singletary sooner rather than later, I think he's certainly worth a pickup. I mean, the offense stinks, and then we should probably talk about Jackson Dart. He's probably available everywhere too, but everyone knows to go pick up Jackson Dart. But what do you think of Devin Singletary?
Man, okay, so real quick as to Scadaboo, I definitely was out on Scadaboo going into drafts. I have very little of him, and I feel like I had to take a giant L on that. But I do worry about him a little bit with the way he runs. You know how when Isaiah Pacheco got in the league and everyone was like, God, he's such an angry runner. Just really worried about him getting hurt. Just the style and the way that he attacks the ground. That's kind of what I worry about a little bit with Scadaboo, right? Is that, I think I saw a meme the other day that was you've got your cerebral runners, CMC, and then you got the guys that are just a wrecking ball, like Scadaboo. Yeah. So that's what I do worry about a little bit. Not I'm wishing anybody injuries on anybody here, but it's just something to concern me a little bit enough that I would maybe go out and grab a Singletary. Like you said, he's got that wily vet narrative. He knows that offense. They are at home for the Chargers this week. They're allowing not a lot of points to running backs, so that's not great. But the Giants, are going to be leaning on a rookie quarterback, and they're going to want somebody reliable back there. Jackson Dart, to throw to, dump it off to his running back, or, to look for a guy that, knows how to get open, knows how to do those things that those veteran players are going to do. So there is value in taking somebody who, a little bit older, maybe, like I said, not the greatest, not the sexiest pick, right? But somebody who's a little bit stable, consistent, that can bring some, kind of calm to those situations.
Yeah.
Maybe Jackson Dart gets a little flustered.
That's a great point that I didn't even consider. The thing that I love about like Scadaboo, what he offers, I love.
Yeah.
What do you want out of your running backs? You want goal line work and you want catches. He's an elite receiver. He's a great goal line back. Yeah. But again, the offense is so bad. Now maybe Dart surprises us and they come out and they're scoring, but I think he's going to get banged up. Yeah. They're going to be losing. And I think
New Orleans, Philly, and then Denver is that's their schedule. Ooh,
brutal. It's so brutal. So yeah, I would put in a couple buckets things there, especially if you lost a running back this week, especially if you lost Tracy, or if you have Scadaboo. I think it's worth it. Did you have anyone else that you wanted to bring up? If not, I can move into streaming.
No, those were pretty much the guys that I had been thinking about and talking about, and a lot of the ones that we had kind of touched on too aren't really going to be available in our deeper leagues. So I think these are going to be the good ones that are out there.
I guess we should talk about Jackson Dart for a second because he will be available everywhere. I'm not picking him up anywhere, even leagues that I have maybe quarterback where I need quarterback help. I'm still not I just don't see the massive upside that he offers. I mean, he's not some crazy running quarterback. He does offer a rushing upside. He does have neighbors, but you could do better. Stafford's available. There's guys that offer even better throwing upside.
Yeah, Stafford's out there, Gino's out there. There's a lot of guys that I would take over Dart. I mean, even I'm in one league that's like a dynasty super flex, best ball, where you are able to do waivers every week. Yeah. Jacksons are not available. It's a dynasty league. He's not available.
Right.
But that might be a situation where I might go grab him, but it'd be real limited circumstances.
I was just thinking today, I was seeing something about 2 quarterback league. It's like the worst. It's like the most backhanded compliment to tell a quarterback, oh yeah, I mean, he's worth grabbing in a super flex league. That's every single quarterback.
Yeah, I never start him, but
a starting quarterback in a super flex, sure, every quarterback is worth owning in a super flex league for sure. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Jackson. The only time I consider about picking up Jackson, so I don't have a lot of Joe Burrow. I usually don't go quarterback early, but in these tournaments, Stacy, I have one where I've got Joe Burrow on my bench because I don't want to drop him because if he comes back for the race for the playoffs and somebody scoops him up, they could have a crazy super team.
Yeah, you can't
so
give
I'm
that
stuck holding Joe Burrow on my roster. I'm stuck with 3 quarterbacks now. It's just so freaking gross having to hold on to him.
I don't know that I can ever take Joe Burrow ever again. I mean, I just, and it's not him. It's Cincinnati. They never do anything to protect him.
Right.
Year in and year out. And if you're going to treat your star quarterback that way and just allow him to get manhandled every single year, I just can't. I can't do it. I can't put myself through that anymore.
The funny thing, remember the story that you remember Mark Deming in Vegas? He's talking about how I sniped. He's telling everyone who will listen about how I sniped him on his Bengals stack in that FFWC main event. He had Higgins, he had Jamar Chase, and I sniped. That's the league that I'm stuck with Joe Burrow now. You're welcome, Mark. You're welcome.
Mark put some bad juju on you for that.
Right. He was about to beat me up and throw me in the pool at the Circa. Okay, so just usually I like to do some streaming defenses here too at the end here. I think that what did I have written down? I think that the Patriots are a good streaming one against the Panthers for sure, and also a defense that I've seen out there quite a bit is the Lions D, because they were playing the Ravens last week, so I think people dropped them and whatever. The Lions against Cleveland is sweet. The Houston's available in some leagues too. The Chargers against the Giants I've seen available. Yes. Do you have any other sleeper ones, Stace?
I like those. I doubt Minnesota's going to be available. I'm sure somebody's hanging on to them. Seattle, great defense too.
That's Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh,
do you ever carry two defenses? Because I've got I'm in a league where I'm not going to carry 2 defenses, but I really like the Chiefs defense overall. They've just had a really rough schedule to start. I'm going to play them against the Ravens and just be like, hey, if I don't get any points, unless you score a defensive touchdown, you're not scoring fantasy points anyways. So it's like, unless, the Ravens could light them up, but they could get a couple sacks because I want to keep them because I want the kind of those future games. I don't really want to drop the Chiefs defense.
The only place where I'm keeping 2 defenses is going to be when we over in Kentucky, where defense is weighted a lot differently than in most leagues. There I'm for sure taking 2, and I you could even talk me into getting 3 at some point. But yeah, that's probably the only place I'm going to do it.
For sure. Awesome. Well, good luck this week. I know we got to tidy up these waivers. We have an hour until
got to go get in there.
They go into effect in all the big leagues. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And again, remind people where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can find me over on Fantasy and Frames on Monday nights. You can find me over on Dynasty Degens on Sunday at 11 for our Sunday tailgate show, and over on the X at Stacy_Perez 83.
Love it. So again, thanks for joining. I'll get on your show this Sunday morning. That'll be fun, and we'll go from there. And good luck this week, everyone. You can find me at Adam_Krautwurst. I write some articles here over at Full Time, the Start Sit article, the DFS article, which has been fun to do. We would have had a great week last week if Lamb didn't get hurt, but hey, injuries happen. So, all right, guys, we will see you next.